What's up, y'all? It's the girl, Stacey the Intuitive. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I just first of all want to say that my hair is a little bit wet, so you might see some of the product, but I feel like in tune enough to do this video right now, so I didn't want to wait. And I guess the wet look looks kind of nice sometimes, so whatever. But today, get comfy. I got my blanket. We're going to be talking a little bit about spiritual fatigue, so it's very within the spirit for us to be very chill while making this. I swear to you guys, every time I make a video, every time there's an ambulance, like literally like clockwork. In every video there's an ambulance. But back to it, it's gone now. So anyway, guys, and it's literally not going anywhere. It just had the thing on just to go past. That's crazy. But anyway, guys, I wanted to talk a little bit today about spiritual fatigue. I sat down, tried to like come up with a topic to film about, and this is what came up to me. I went through a very, very long period of spiritual fatigue, and I'm calling it that, but essentially it's just like that feeling of having lost your will to essentially live, to do anything, to do your normal things, to feel like you can navigate as a person in society, you know, to feel like you can navigate as a person in society in general. I lost that for quite some time. I just kind of felt disinterested in doing a lot of things. It took me a lot of energy to just, you know, even get up for the day and get ready. I would just be feeling drained all the time. And I'm just now seeing like the end of that. So I just kind of want to give you guys like a couple of tips and a little bit of support in that part of the journey if you find yourself going through that, because I feel like at this point in the journey, at that point where I felt like I had so much spiritual fatigue, all I wanted was like someone to just like speak about it. And I never really found like the exact type of comfort that I was seeking about that time in my life. So I'm hoping that whoever watches this, whoever stumbles across this, can benefit from this, because I know that feeling of like, you know, really not having the will to live and being like, oh my God, like, it's not to say that you want to die or anything. I don't want to say it like that, but you know, you just don't have the will to like do the day-to-day or just be a person, a human in society. Like, and I know that was like such a sucky feeling for me, because I was just like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's going on? And there are a couple of things that really kept me through that time, so I feel like it can be helpful. For one, I just want to say, like, it's a very normal part of the journey. I feel like this happens because of the fact that we are coming to a time, whenever we experience this, of being more energetically sensitive, more energetically in tune. So like all these energies hitting us and us being privy to it is something that we must learn to come into balance with. It's not something that just like quickly, it's not something that we're just quickly able to be accustomed to. So like be very gentle with yourself in that process. It really is just something of, it really is just one of those things you have to be patient in going through. It really is just one of those things that you have to accept for what it is. But what I wish someone had told me when I was going through this like spiritual fatigue was that like the feeling of fatigue that you're going through, the feeling of not having the will to live is okay. It is acceptable. It is something that is kind of like destined for you at this time. Like, this is what you're supposed to be going through. You don't have to try to push yourself out of it, because there will be a time where your energy is more prepared for whatever is coming to you. I wish someone had told me that, because like I consistently felt like I was going through this cycle of like trying to get my energy up, trying to be productive, trying to do this, trying to do this, trying to do this. And maybe I would get to it for like 2 days, but then now I'm super drained for the rest of the week or whatever. So then I'd be very disappointed in myself. So it was like kind of this up and down journey, when really I just need to be gentle with myself and understand like this is a part of the process right now. This process is very important for where I'm supposed to go. And that's what's kind of like counterintuitive about this journey, is like a lot of the times there are periods where, you know, everyone else might be going through some energy where they're like super productive or whatever have you, but we're just being asked to slow down, and we must prioritize at times the energetic work that we're doing rather than seeing results in the 3D or making these energetic like movements in our physical reality that kind of reflects what we're going through internally. Like, we want so badly to like quickly change our external reality, but what's being prioritized at that time where you're kind of going through spiritual fatigue is that internal reality being shifted. And it's just like a point where you're kind of being kind of like incubated into this space of like, you know, spiritual work internally, or just self-work internally, so that you'll have a stable foundation when these energies do start hitting you of, you know, needing to blend out the internal and external. So do not pressure yourself through this time to like shift so much externally. Some people might have a different experience, but then they probably won't resonate with this video. Some people might be, you know, super productive, feeling it, whatever. But for the people who do go through that kind of like long ebb of energy where you're just like, I do not feel like I can do anything, I don't feel like I have the will for anything, this is probably for you. What was really important for me during this time was finding little things to integrate when I could, when I had the energy to do so, that really attributed to my own general well-being. So for me, I went through a lot of different phases of figuring out things that worked for me, where I would be into something for a period of time, then phase out of it, or be able to do it for a couple days and phase out of it. It was really like a whole up and down journey because I explored so many different things. At one point I was doing yoga every day. At one point I was meditating every day. At one point I was, you know, doing sound healing every day. At one point I was journaling all the time, doing tea meditations. One point I was waking up at 5 a.m. One point what stayed really consistent with me was going outdoors, but one point I was like very much outdoors. I'm just like naming off a bunch of things, but during my journey I had a bunch of different things that I found myself clinging towards that brought me like this sense of well-being. But like I said, I didn't really have the will a lot of days to like do all of these things. So when I did, I found it very important to be able to like to have that in my toolbox. It's kind of like you're building a toolbox. I don't know which movie says that, but yeah, it's like that idea of like building your spiritual toolbox and knowing what things kind of resonate with you. I feel like during that time you're figuring out what resonates with you, and although you might not have the energy to sustain it, it's very important that you allow yourself to like explore and go towards what you feel guided to. Like at one point I even became vegetarian for a month. And I'm just saying these as just like practices that I felt that I needed to integrate into my life. And that I felt drawn towards. Like, even though I didn't really have the will to do much, I still put myself in a position where when I did the vegetarian thing to like give this extra energy to being vegetarian when I didn't really have energy most of the time. And I was at school during a lot of this, but when I didn't really have energy most of the time to like even make dinner. But like at this phase I was very committed to like vegetarian, so I was cooking a lot, you know. So there was a lot of like ebb and flow in the energy, and a lot of integration of different practices at different times, but they would often fall off. And yeah, I would feel really down, and a lot of the time there's this energy of like discontent and boredom when you feel like you can't get up, but then, you know, you don't have any energy, which can easily lean you into this state of sadness, dissatisfaction, depression even. And so, you know, it was really a thing of needing to know like to take it easy on myself. And when those emotions of like dissatisfaction would come up, just being able to reassure myself that like, this is okay, this is aligned. But I didn't really have that. I didn't really know that. I really thought like I was just navigating incorrectly. And if this version of me right now, who was like, you know, had like built up the willpower and stuff to be able to get up, if this version of me had like talked to that version of me, then that version of me would have had such a large burden taken off of her, because she felt like she wasn't navigating correctly, or I was feeling like I was kind of like failing at the whole thing. I was like, I don't know, like I just didn't know what was going on. I felt like I was at a period of life where I was like, am I giving up? But I don't want to give up. I just don't have the energy, you know, like I just didn't know what was going on. But I'm just here to tell you guys, like, I've reached the other side of that. Before, I didn't really have like the mental strength or whatever spiritual strength to be able to lift myself and, you know, have the will to do things. And I'm telling you, every single thing that like the trials that I was put through during these periods of my life where I was going through spiritual fatigue have brought me to this point in present day where I have the will to do anything. Even if I don't feel it, I'm like, I have such a strong mental power. I have such a strong like spiritual strength, I guess, in what I feel, that one day it just kind of like clicked. Or not one day, it was obviously like a progression of things, but over the progression, like it just kind of clicked. And now like I'm getting up every day, I can get dressed every day, like I'm doing things effortlessly, which is always what I wanted. I never wanted it to be too much effort, but we have like all things, we always have to find a place of balance. So there's a point where it's a lot of effort to do these day-to-day things, and another point where doing these day-to-day things is effortless and it feels like flow. And that's where I'm at now. I feel like I really came to the middle, but it's not me taking for granted the fact that I'm able to do these things. Me coming to the middle allows me to actually acknowledge and appreciate the level of strength it does take for me, even though it feels effortless, to do these things. So knowing that you're going through that process, knowing that there is another side of it, allows you to feel just a little bit more relaxed and like a little bit less pressured to perform in a certain way, because I'm sure that there are people going through this who are like, I just don't have the will to do anything. But just know that we are being aligned in such a way that we are the navigators of our own reality. We are creating our own realities, and we need to feel like our reality suits us and that it does feel effortless, even in doing the mundane tasks. When we're programmed to force ourselves to do things like, you know, going to school, going to work, like it's forced, like we have to do these things, we kind of have to deprogram that. And a lot of the time, the only way to deprogram that is to completely like be stripped of every single mechanism that would even get you to do that stuff, that would motivate you, drive you in that way. When those things no longer can drive you, like external obligation, you're forced to kind of find your own level of drive. That's what I feel like I was going throughout that period. But yeah, I made it out on the other side. So I'm just here to tell you guys that like I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energetic every day. I do have my days where I'm kind of like, you know, I'm gonna relax today, but I'm much more allowing of that. I'm much more open to that because I now know how to honor that energy within me. But a lot of the times we were navigating an autopilot where we wouldn't even honor the times where we didn't have the energy. So just know if you're going through this period of really like spiritual fatigue, losing the will to do things, not feeling motivated, not feeling driven, just know that it is purposed, that you should be gentle with yourself during this time. Take the good days with stride as you continue to allow yourself to flow with the things you feel intuitively drawn to rather than forcing yourself out of obligation. You will be gaining up this level of refinement within your reality, within your sense of self. And I feel really good because like the things I do now, it just feels really refined. It feels really comfortable to me. I know what I need when I'm feeling low energy. I know how to, you know, motivate myself in order to do what is gonna make me feel good. Like I used to hate working out. I'm not like I was not a workout girl. I've been doing Pilates like every day now. Not every day, like let's say 3 to 4 times a week, and I'll do yoga sometimes and I'll walk and whatever. But I make sure that I get active and stuff now, and it's really like a mental switch because I'll be like not feeling it or something. I'm like, you can do it though. Whereas in the past, I didn't even have that. Like, you can do it though. I'd be like, oh my God, I feel so drained. I don't want to do this. But then it would come into a feeling of sadness, of heaviness, of disappointment. And it just shows like every single trial that you're going through right now, every single energetic initiation is very purposed. And it tells you also that the things that you're going through energetically are not to be taken for granted, because I don't think that I really realized like how energetically taxing what I was going through was. Up until like I experienced like this shift right now, and I'm like, for me to have shifted this much, I must have been making so many changes then, and I just wasn't really privy. So like honor those things. And when you're going through the energetic shifts and stuff and feeling tiredness along the process, feeling fatigued, feeling unmotivated, just remind yourself like this is a part of it. So like, let me just honor this need to rest and relax. And you can also integrate things that make your rest and relaxation even more suitable for you, so that you don't have to really be doing anything, but that it feels nurturing to your soul. And I feel like that is a big part of it, is figuring out how to nurture your soul and be there for yourself and just listen to yourself. So if you're going through that, guys, just know there is another side. You are not going to be stuck there. This time that you're experiencing is very purposed. I just wish someone had told me that at that time. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'm here with you, supporting you through this process, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.